The following podcast contains movie spoilers and mature content, including graphic descriptions of violence. Listener discretion is advised.
Welcome to Opening Kill, the podcast that dives deep into the chilling world of horror films. Every Thursday, we explore a different movie, from cult classics to modern masterpieces, uncovering behind-the-scenes secrets, analyzing themes, and sharing fun facts about your favorite horror films. Join us as we chat with filmmakers and fellow horror film fans to celebrate the fear in cinema. And now, the hosts of Opening Kill, Michael Duren and Brian O'Connor.
What is up? My name is Michael Duren. Welcome to Opening Kill. How are we doing, Brian?
I'm Brian O'Connor, and I'm doing well. Happy almost Valentine's Day. It's tomorrow.
Yeah. Valentine's Day 2025. It's almost upon us.
It is. I hate Valentine's Day.
It's not my favorite. My wife and I always just keep it super low key. We just get the heart-shaped pizza from Papa Murphy's.
There you go.
And just chill. That's what we do. Especially with the kids. Now it's just we can't
that's
do
right.
anything.
Yeah, you have kids now. So,
yeah.
You watch horror movies for Valentine's Day? I do.
I think it should be something we start doing. Maybe we should watch this movie every single year.
I like this movie.
I do too. I mean, it's got that Scream wannabe vibe, which is not a bad thing.
Right.
But a lot of the slashers right after Scream had this very similar vibe to it. And this is one of those as well.
Mhm.
But I eat it up. I'm like, you give me a whodunit slasher with a cool mask, I'm sold.
So, for those of you wondering, it's Valentine.
Yeah.
2001.
2001. This is kind of like the last of the Scream knockoffs for a while as well. It kind of came to an end with this one, and I love this movie. I was watching it again. I'm just like, this just tickles all of my funny bones.
I want to start off also by saying hello to one of our researchers, Jillian, who of course works on the podcast and listens in every week. And in her honor, we start the show with shots of Buffalo Trace bourbon. So it's her favorite, and ours too. And then we follow it with Coors Light Chasers. So there you go.
I like it because it has a buffalo on it.
Yeah, I know.
That's one of my favorite. I just love buffalo. So I play pickleball sometimes, and my paddle has a buffalo on it, and that is the reason I bought it.
And that is it.
Yeah, no other reason. I don't know if it's a good one or not.
Sure it is. Of course it is.
Probably.
Yeah,
has
I
a
would think
buffalo.
so.
Or a bison, if we want to be completely accurate.
You're from bison country, aren't you?
I do. I love some bison meat.
You do. All right. So, you saw a couple of movies since we talked to you last. I finally broke down and watched Night Swim. I've been putting it off. I've heard it was bad, and it wasn't as bad as I thought it was going to be, but worth a watch. It's kind of entertaining. I mean, it's about a haunted swimming pool. So essentially, I mean, that it is what it is.
Right. If that doesn't sound interesting to you, then you're probably not going to like it.
Yeah, you're probably so. The other one that I went to theaters to go see, it was my scare preview pick a few weeks ago, and that is the haunted house movie Presence, starring Lucy Liu.
Okay.
I don't want to say I was disappointed. It wasn't what I was expecting it to be. I would call it very thoughtfully done.
Okay.
Not a lot of scares. Very interesting what they did with it. The editing especially, because normally you watch a film and it'll cut from scene to scene throughout the movie.
Right.
This movie, when the scene would end, they would cut to black and leave you there for a couple of seconds and then come back to the next scene. So you had it might have been every scene. I kind of lost track, but they would cut and black with the music and then come back to the next scene. And also the way they filmed it, it was as if they did just one master shot in each scene with a steady cam, and the camera was smoothly, fluidly moving around. And it was almost as if the camera was the ghost and you're looking at it from the ghost's perspective.
I mean, that's kind of cool. I like the idea of that.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know if it would carry for an entire movie's runtime.
It was interesting. And then there were times where, the camera would turn and then go zipping up the stairs, and then it would cut to black. Then you'd have black for 2 or 3 seconds. Then we move on to the next scene. So I thought it was good. It was interesting. Again, just the way it was filmed and edited. Only a couple of deaths in it. It was I guess I would describe it as a murder-suicide, although it was an accidental one. I don't think,
Okay.
I'm not going to spoil it too much, but so yeah, but I thought the characters were very well thought out. The writing was very good, and it was basically about a dysfunctional family that moves into this house, and they're haunted by this ghost that's there.
Is it much more of like a family drama almost?
It's very much a family drama. There's a lot of family drama.
So like
going
light
on.
on the horror,
Yeah.
but more of a family drama.
Yeah.
So I mean, that's going to be one where I think I would like it. I would just have to be in a very, very specific mood.
It's worth it. I mean, I did enjoy it.
Yeah.
And it just, again, it wasn't exactly what I was expecting. Not to say that that's bad. That's what it was.
I think
So.
knowing this, maybe my viewing will be maybe a little bit better because I'll go in with adjusted expectations.
Right.
Maybe.
Right.
Yeah. I mean, I'm still definitely going to check it out, but maybe I'll wait for streaming or something.
Good news is nobody sat next to me in the theater.
Well, that is a plus.
That is my pet peeve. Don't sit next to me. I just want to be, unless I'm with, someone.
Right.
Other than that, just leave me alone, please.
I will sometimes be planning on going to a movie, and then if I see if there's no seats without people around me, I'll be like, well, I don't need to go that bad.
Yeah.
I
yeah.
hate sitting next to people I don't know.
Me too.
It's the worst.
Me too. And that's why I will always go to, I'll usually go to the latest showing if that's the only one that has nobody else in it.
Do you want to know what I've recently started doing, and it's working out fantastically for me?
What's that?
So the very front row, not the front row, but there's the wheelchair accessible seating.
Mm-hmm.
There's one seat that is a regular seat there,
Mm-hmm.
and I have been selecting that lately. And I've been liking it. It's
Smart.
It's a little bit closer than I generally like, but it's not actually way up there. It's kind of more, I don't know. It's
There's
a
a section
weird
below
spot.
that one. I think I think I know what you're talking
yeah,
about.
it's fine. And it's guarantees there's no one around you. You can kind of just stretch out. I like it.
Mm-hmm.
So maybe there's a little fun tip for you.
Okay, I will try that. Although I do like sitting towards the very back.
Yeah, well,
that's kind of but I might give that a try.
Yeah,
Okay.
it's worth it. I saw the Wolfman, just Wolfman from Lee Winnell. I really, really like this one. It's definitely getting some mixed reviews, but it kind of was everything I wanted it to be, a unique take on the werewolf mythology, and I really liked the design. And I kind of like the slow descent into it where most werewolf transitions is I don't know, a minute tops. This one is very drawn out and more of just a permanent one.
Right.
You go through it once and then you're just, I guess, whatever this thing is.
Mm-hmm.
I really like the design at the end of it. I liked the body horror throughout it. There's a scene with a fingernail that was really well done. The only thing, and I will say this is the thing that kept it from being 5 stars for me, is I did not buy the two leads relationship at all. They had zero chemistry.
I felt the same way.
Yeah.
And that was one of the things that kind of threw me off a little bit. It seemed like there were I think there was tension in the marriage.
Right. I mean,
but even
that
then,
though,
yeah.
I didn't buy that they would have been in love at all ever.
No.
They just didn't seem compatible at all.
Yeah.
So I'm like, what do you guys talk about? Clearly nothing. That's why you're getting divorced. But
I agree.
Yeah.
I do agree. I felt the same way. But as far as the design and everything and just the atmosphere and
Lee Winnell is so good at that shit.
Yeah.
I love Lee Winnell. Whenever he's attached to a project, I'm definitely checking it out. And I think this is one of his, I wouldn't say best just because he's got so many incredible projects, but it's up there. It's a really fun movie.
It was always kind of a bummer when they set it in Oregon. It's oh yeah, cool. And then and this one was, I think was in New Zealand or something. It was well, it didn't really look like Oregon, but it kind of could have if you're going, but no, okay, so film it in New Zealand, whatever.
Yeah, there's one specific scene that is an important part for the characters in it. It's a very important, visually landscape moment. I'm yeah, that is definitely nowhere in Oregon.
Well, you know what? Oregon has the Goonies. So we had that filmed here up in Astoria. So that's all we need right there.
Well, and the exterior for The Shining.
And that's right. The overlook.
That's right.
Yeah. Timberline Lodge in Central Oregon. Well, Nightmare Newsflash. So last year, A24 picked up the rights to a new film that is being developed. It is a darker version of the classic Robin Hood tale. It's called The Death of Robin Hood. It's going to be directed by Michael Sarnowski. Now, he directed Pig, which was Was that Nicolas Cage?
Yeah, and it was in Portland.
Portland, right. And then he also did A Quiet Place Day One. So he's got some good movies under his belt. Hugh Jackman and Jodie Comer were announced to star, and this past week, Bill Skarsgård signed on, as did Murray Bartlett and Noah Jupe. So it's basically a dark reimagining of Robin Hood, who grapples with his past life of crime and murder while in the hands of a mysterious woman after being critically injured. Filming started this month in Northern Ireland. No release date yet, but it looks pretty interesting. I think it's going to be probably more of an adventure, big adventure type thing than actual horror, but I think it's going to have some of those elements in it.
Yeah, a little bit of the horror splash into it. Like, no, that sounds really cool. I'm sold. I'm very intrigued by it. Yeah. Everything about that, honestly.
Yeah.
My news thing, not much. I just was kind of excited that Robert Eggers recently commented on his next project, Werewolf, or however you pronounce that.
It's spelled differently.
So weird.
Yeah.
It's a medieval werewolf story, and he said it's his darkest, most disturbing movie yet. So all of his being pretty disturbing and dark, I'm like, all right, how far into the pits of hell are we going here?
Yeah, it looks really interesting just from what I've read about it. Not a lot of details out there yet,
but I mean,
still.
Just his version of like the Nosferatu vampire story. I'm curious to now see what he's going to do with the werewolf mythology. So
me too.
Yeah, I'm pumped about it.
So this week's movie, Valentine from 2001. Just the Facts, directed by Jamie Blanks, based on a novel, actually, by Tom Savage. There's a couple of Tom Savages who are authors. You want to make sure you look up the right one, because the other one is an old dude that died way long time ago and wrote Westerns. Not him that wrote this one. It was the other Tom Savage.
All right.
Movie was released February 2nd, 2001. It stars Denise Richards. Ooh, look at this, Michael. Marley Shelton.
Ooh, Deputy Judy herself from Scream 4 and 5.
Katherine Heigl is in it, and David Boreanaz also is in it.
Yeah, Mr. Bones himself.
That's right.
I love that show.
He's done some good stuff over the years, yeah. So this film starts 13 years in the past, okay, at a junior high school Valentine's Day dance in San Francisco.
1988 at Robert Kennedy Middle School.
That's right.
Yeah.
Now, the student Jeremy Melton, he's an outcast. He's me when I was in junior high school.
He looked like Alfalfa without the hooked up hair.
He did.
Like just like Alfalfa.
Yep, that's right. He did. And so he's the kid that can never get the girl.
No, but he's trying.
He's trying hard.
Homie is on the prowl.
He asks 4 girls to dance with him. He goes to Shelley. He goes to Lily. Then he goes to Paige, who reject him, and they're not nice about it.
No, especially Paige. She says, quote, "I'd rather be boiled alive."
Yeah. Which
doesn't seem pleasant.
No.
I think I'd rather dance with the nerdy person.
Yeah.
But, I mean, whatever.
Well,
Each their own.
The interesting thing is, and we will get into this, at the end of the movie, when we give the rest of this away, but their responses are kind of a foreshadow as to what happens to them, because Paige says that, I'd rather boil to death. Well, Paige, guess what? You're going to get your wish.
Oh, shit. You're right.
Okay. So we'll talk about that when we get to the conclusion of this movie.
Okay. I like that.
So the 4th girl that he talks to, her name is Kate, and she's actually polite and says maybe later. So he gets his hopes up.
Right.
He's like, oh my gosh.
I got a maybe.
And she wasn't mean to me.
Right. That's a win.
She probably had no intention of following through.
Oh, hell no.
But that's okay. So he goes up to their other friend, Dorothy, who is sitting in the bleachers by herself in the gym.
And this is sad because, this whole thing about Dorothy is that she's like fat. And she's like not. She looks like a normal person.
Yeah, she's a very pretty girl.
Yeah.
I mean, the other 2, or the other 4, I should say, are very, skinny, like petite,
popular from back then, that essential look to them.
Right. But Dorothy still is very pretty and looks great.
Yeah, just like a normal person.
And he asks her to dance and holds his hand up. She takes it, and they don't actually see them dancing.
No.
Because it cuts to them going under the bleachers and they're making out. I'm like,
making out hardcore.
Dude, you go, because that never happened to me in junior high school.
Yeah, they're just like, macking. And then a group of boys come up and start looking down through the bleachers at him and are like, ha, ha, ha. And Dorothy does something crazy.
Yeah.
She's just like, ew, he's doing this to me. Get away from me, pervert. She's like, basically says this dude's sexually assaulting me.
Yeah.
And so the boys whip out a giant punch bowl that I don't know where they got that from. And they just dump it on him.
How quickly they got it.
I mean,
that was like they had it in their back pocket.
They must have. Yeah.
Something.
They were ready to go.
Yeah.
And they dump it on him and then they drag him out and like strip him down to his underwear.
Yeah.
And like push him out onto the dance floor. No chaperones anywhere.
No. I noticed that too.
I'm like,
no teachers.
Why is this happening? And yeah, they just humiliate him and his nose starts bleeding. And as a kid and a now adult whose nose bleeds all the time randomly, I really felt seen.
Well, I never got beat up like that, but I certainly got rejected by girls. And I was super shy in junior high anyway. I would have even had the nerve. I did actually, my first girlfriend, I met her in junior high, but I mean, it took forever to get the nerve up. So this guy, kudos to him for like going to like 5 girls and asking them all to dance. And
he somehow has his confidence completely squashed yet. Now he has, but like until tonight, he still has a shred of it left.
So that's where the film jumps 13 years to the year 2001, the year this film came out. So it was present day. And Shelley, who was the first one to reject him, is now a medical student. And she's working on this corpse, getting ready to cut this corpse open. And she's there by herself.
Well, first she has that weird date.
Oh, let's go back and talk about Brian.
What a fucking weirdo.
They're at this restaurant and he's just talking about himself.
Oh, and it's played by Katherine Heigl.
Yeah. Yeah.
Before, I think, anything, right?
I think this was one of her first things. I'd have to double check that. But yeah. So yeah, her date Brian is sitting there and just being a complete ass. And he smiles real big and he's got this huge piece of spinach in his teeth. And she finally, so I love how she gets out of this date. She's finally done with it.
Yeah.
And she's like, check, please. And and he's like, what, no dessert? And she's like, nope. So the check comes to the table and he's looking at it going, oh man, this is really expensive. So let's see, you got the salmon.
Starts divvying up the check.
And she rolls her eyes and she's just like, okay, I had a feeling this was probably going to happen. He's going to make me pay for my half of the date.
Yep.
So they ended up leaving. And that's when she goes back to, I guess it's the university.
It's the university,
with
yeah,
the
because
morgue
she's working on her doctorate, I think.
Yeah.
And she's just, I don't know, finals or some shit.
Right. So she's about to cut open the cadaver and she hears a sound. She goes out into the hallway and ends up being one of her friends or whoever, another student.
Just a fun little fake jump scare thing.
So she turns and there's her locker and there's a Valentine's Day card with her name on it.
Yeah.
In the locker.
And this Valentine's Day card is elaborate.
Yeah.
Like someone has a membership at Joann's and Michael's because this person's a frequent shopper and he's very crafty.
Mm-hmm.
And it's like, it says something about your neck's gonna bleed blood, but it's all poetically written and it's got like fun little tabs that you pull and it's like a pop-up book. Like very impressive work. Yeah. I really enjoyed it. I would have been flattered if I got something like that. I'm like, wow, someone put a lot of thought and energy into this.
Mm-hmm.
But so she goes back to the corpse and is going to start her thing when just as she's about to cut, the stomach on this thing moves.
Like he's taking a breath.
Yeah. First off, bold. Like that, you're going to jump in as a corpse and let someone get that close to you with a scalpel. I'm brave. Braver than I.
Oh, yeah, definitely. But this person does. And so she jumps back and she opens a door and the actual corpse that she had been working on falls out.
Mm-hmm.
She looks back to the table and nobody's there now.
Yeah, the old disappearing trick.
Very quickly disappeared and got out the door.
Slashers are so good at that.
They really are. They are. So it basically turns into a cat and mouse where she's running down the halls, running away from him. She eventually ends up in the cold storage room where they keep all of the cadavers, the corpses, but they're not like in the drawers like you would see in a morgue. They're all sitting out on tables.
Just on carts and just, there's a lot of them.
Yeah, there's probably 8 or 9 of them.
Yeah, I'm like, what university is this?
Yeah. So she ends up climbing in one of the body bags. I guess there was an empty one and she's, and the killer, who is wearing a very cool Cupid mask, walks in starts unzipping the bags. He unzips the first two.
Yeah.
And then he's like, well, screw this. I don't have time. So he just starts now stabbing the other ones. And then he opens up another one, and that's where she is hiding.
Right. Yeah.
And she screams, and she gets her. Well, I guess we should let this speak for itself.
The opening kill.
She gets her throat slit by
Yeah.
this guy because
Yeah.
he's chasing her with a big knife. So I'm a little bit mixed on this, and we have a grading system for our opening kills. Butter knife or butcher knife. I have to give this a butter knife, Michael.
Okay.
I do.
Okay.
I mean, the setup was kind of cool. The fact that she's in a body bag was pretty cool, but it wasn't that exciting to me compared to some of the other kills that we see later in this film.
Is it? Yeah. Is it one of the best kills in the movie? Definitely not. But it's like, I love the whole chase scene of it. I love the like little moments of tension that we get. So I think I'm going to disagree, and I think I'm going to give it a butcher knife.
Butcher knife for you, butter
Yeah.
knife from me. All right.
Yeah,
Well, we can agree to disagree as we
can.
do.
We
I mean,
can.
we can't agree on everything in these movies.
that's true.
You're
Yeah.
wrong, but I will. Yeah, no, I just thought I've seen this kill a million times with the the throat slice. Well,
Oh,
that's
for
fine.
sure.
Yeah,
I mean,
yeah,
yeah.
of course.
Oh, but the one thing about the killer is his nose starts to bleed.
That's right.
Yeah.
That is a trait that we see several times in the movie.
Because like the mask has just like nostril holes. So yeah, whenever he's just something like blood just always is pouring out of one of them, which
Yep.
again, I feel seen because that happens to me all the time.
So you can relate to this
I
killer.
can. I
Okay.
can. I'm like, wow, finally a fellow adult with a nosebleed.
So after that scene, we move ahead to Shelley's funeral, where the other four girls from junior high school, because they remained friends throughout the years.
Right.
So they're all still friends. So now we have Kate, we have Lily, we have Paige, and we have Dorothy. And of course, Dorothy is the one that accused him, falsely
Right.
of basically sexually assaulting her or trying to at that junior high school dance,
Right.
that poor kid. Now they go through the funeral, and we really don't see much of it. And it's pretty much after the funeral.
Yeah.
They're all walking away. Now we get this guy is such a sleazeball. It is a detective by the name of Leon Vaughn, played by Fulvio Cesare, who's a great actor, but this character is just a freaking sleazeball.
Yeah.
He's, he has a scene later on where he basically is trying to, well, he's not trying, he's hitting on Denise Richards' character, has his hand on
But he's
her
just
thigh.
doing it
He's
in like the grossest way
Oh,
possible.
yeah, yeah. So he comes up to the four girls and starts asking them questions and about what they knew about if she'd been receiving any threats or asking about any boyfriends or anything like that. And so yeah,
They don't really know anything though.
No,
They're
no,
kinda
we're
just
still pretty early
I
on.
don't know. It's kind of just shocking to us too.
Mm-hmm.
We're also introduced to Adam, who is played by David Boreanaz, and he's now Kate's boyfriend. And she kind of meets up with him, and we get a little bit of a background where he's clearly dealing with alcohol addiction because she sees a bottle of tequila in the car, and she's like, I thought we were working on that. He's like, oh, it's just for my buddy. It's a gift. Or
So they've been kind of off and on.
Yeah.
And they're kind of off right now, but he wanted
trying to get back on. They're working on it.
Yeah. And he's an interesting character as well. And we'll get more into that as we get into this film. But as it turns out, all of the girls are getting these same Valentine's cards
Mm-hmm.
that Shelley got, and they're all signed with JM.
Mm-hmm.
Now, JM, that we'll mention that the young kid at the beginning of this who was beat up after he asked them all to dance, that kid's name was Jeremy Melton.
Right.
JM.
Mm-hmm.
So that's important to know. And that was a clue that they introduced, well, in this scene here, very early on in the film.
And we kind of, they kind of go their separate ways. And the first one who gets another Valentine is Dorothy. She goes home and she has one that says, roses are red, violets are blue. They'll need dental records to identify you.
Yes.
Which is, I mean, that's, That'll scare the shit out of you.
And we should add that Dorothy, out of all the girls, Dorothy is the rich one. She comes from a very wealthy family.
Mm-hmm.
And
it's kind of funny because you meet Dorothy's boyfriend, Campbell.
Yeah.
And he shows up and he's like, my roommate didn't pay rent while I was like off on the road or something. So I need a place to stay. And this scene is so funny where her stepmom, who is definitely probably like her age or maybe younger, comes down and like they get into this argument about, oh my God, it's so funny. And they start getting like physical. Then her dad comes down and breaks it up, and it's just ridiculous.
And her dad, this guy, what a piece of work.
Yeah.
He's like, you need to respect your stepmother more.
Yeah, I'm like, okay.
She's so immature. But the back and forth that the two girls have, it's very, very funny.
Ridiculous.
Yeah. So the boyfriend, his name is Campbell, and he is played by
Daniel Cosgrove.
And he's a great actor too.
There's a scene that just made me die. Kate is showering and she gets interrupted. Like something's outside her apartment. So she goes out, sees a little Cupid mask in the hallway, and goes back to her apartment where the water's been shut off. So she cleans her hair in the toilet bowl, which is so fucking gross.
Well, and she'd called her landlord.
Yeah.
And got no answer.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think I would have just shown up to wherever I was with shampoo in my hair.
Yep.
I'm
not going to do it in the toilet.
Dunking my head in the toilet. No, thank you.
So then we end up cutting to another scene where we are now at Lily's boyfriend's art show, which is going on. And this guy, his name is Max Ramey, and he is played by Johnny Whitworth. And boy, he's a piece of work. He is hitting on every girl there, and including the friends of Lily. They're all there.
Oh, yeah.
And he does it in front of Lily.
Yeah.
So he's a fun character to watch. But
he's ridiculous.
He's not much better than the detective we're going to be talking about here pretty soon too.
No.
So yeah.
And his whole art exhibit is so painfully 2000s. It's so ridiculous. Like the music, all just like, wow, really takes you back, and just the flashing lights of it all.
Right.
It's just so gaudy.
It's so many video screens of different type things. It's very artsy.
He has a fucking maze.
Yeah.
Where there's moving like wall panels, and it's just flashing images of I guess the theme is like different versions of love, because like there's just like this voice saying like love, love, love throughout it all. It's I could not stand more than like 2 minutes in that thing.
It's very, very strange.
It's like a carnival dark ride from hell.
You know what? It's like a fun house almost. Yeah. It really is like a carnival fun house. We also meet another character in the at this art show. Her name is Ruthie. Yeah. And she is accusing Campbell of being a con artist. I guess she invested. She invested in this scheme that he's in charge of, and she's got no money back. And she just randomly shows up at the art show and knows that Campbell is going to be there, and kind of calls him out
in front of Edla and his new girlfriend Dorothy, who's just like, no, not my man.
Kind of crazy character, this Ruthie that we meet at the art show. And then we get ready for our next kill. This is kind of a cool one.
This is fun.
This is Lily. And what's interesting to note here also is the girls, and again, we give you spoiler alerts. So, if you haven't seen this movie and you want to watch it before we go too much farther, go do it and come back. But the girls are actually killed in the order that he asked them to dance in junior high school.
They figure out who it is, but they don't know what he looks like.
Right.
So we still don't know who he is. But yeah.
So Lily was the second girl that was asked to dance.
Okay.
And now she is going to die by bow and arrow.
Well, and like she's in the maze thing, making out with Max.
Yes.
And then Max's assistant comes up and just starts like watching him and starts to take her shirt off. And like Lily notices her and she's like, ew, like what's going on? And Max just like, oh, that's just Amber or whatever.
I invited
what do you
her.
mean? It's just.
And he says, I invited her.
Yeah. He's just so casual about it all. And then Lily, storms off, is mad. It's like, ew, you're a pig. He's like, you knew this.
Yeah, that was the great line too. But you knew that. But I think that's where they pretty much break up in that scene. I mean, she's done with him.
Yeah.
So she does
And
take
she's
off.
about to be done in more ways than, one.
So she gets into the maze of video screens and they start like going out and all of the video screens are, there's like the snow on them and they're shutting down, and she turns and she gets shot.
Yeah, she catches an arrow in the gut.
Yep, she does. And then another one. And then she stumbles out the door onto this balcony and she shoots her one more time and she flies over the balcony down several stories and lands in a garbage dumpster. And as she hits it, the lid flips shut on top of her,
Great.
which was great. So Lily is kill number 2.
And I just love that they reference that they don't know where she is later on in the movie. So I'm like, how long was she just in the dumpster? It never says, but like, it's just, I like to think she was never found.
They never do mention finding the body.
Yeah.
She was supposed to go to Los Angeles on a trip. And we find out later in the film that she never made it there, but she's never really mentioned again as far as them finding a body.
Yeah. So just whatever dumpster truck picked her up, just rocking around San Francisco or wherever this is.
So we now get into an investigation with the detective. He's questioning the girls again, and we find out that Jeremy, the kid from the beginning, his parents were engulfed in a house fire. They're burned up, and Kate decides to start doing some research. And it's so funny to see this because the internet in 2001 was still very new, and to see the search engine she's using in the computer, it's pretty funny to see that.
So old school.
She finds out that Jeremy's old persona is gone. I mean, all the information on him, it's just not there anymore. He doesn't exist. So the girls start to think, well, there's our killer.
Right.
That's got to be him.
And he can be anyone now. Well, they do mention he was like institutionalized afterwards. So he probably went away.
That's right.
Right after.
So they do believe Jeremy's the killer. Dorothy then has an admission. She's talking to Kate and Paige, and they're questioning her on what really happened at that junior high school dance. And she finally just doesn't say anything. And they say, he did attack you, right? And she starts shaking her head. And they can't believe that she would make that up because of what she did. He was taken away. He was institutionalized. He was put in juvenile hall.
Well, yeah, they all thought he was the aggressor, and now they realize, oh shit, he was the victim. So they're like, yeah, this is definitely gotta be him because he's justified in a revenge plot. So yeah.
There's another character that we meet along the way. We met him he was actually in a previous scene. His name is Gary. Gary Taylor.
Yeah, how did we forget about Gary?
He's played by Claude Duhamel, and he's a crazy neighbor of Kate's.
Yep. And he speaks in rhyme.
Oh, he does.
So that's just definitely like a red herring of the killer because all the cards are obviously in a rhyme. So
this was not long after. This was actually the scene where she's washing her hair in the toilet. Yeah. And she goes out into the hallway and she's like wearing hardly anything. And he pops his head out the door and he's trying to pick up on her. He obviously wants to date her, but yeah, he's rhyming everything. And then she goes, no, you're too scary, Gary. And she walks off. So we fast forward through all these other scenes. And now we see Gary in her apartment attempting to steal some of her underwear.
Wasn't he trying to put it on?
Yeah, he might have been.
Yeah,
he might have been. He had the underwear.
He was fumbling in the old underwear drawer, that's for sure.
And what we see is the killer has come into her apartment and there's a hot iron on the ironing board. He picks it up. He walks in and surprises Gary, who's like, oh, dude, I'm not in a good place and I'm not well. And, so he hits him with the iron and then he brands the side of his face
he grabs
with
his
it.
Fucking face.
Yeah.
And this is probably my favorite kill.
Is it?
Yeah.
It's pretty epic.
Yeah.
Because then he beats him to death with the iron. He basically swings it and boom,
by the cord.
And brings it down on him.
Clunks him over and over and over.
So Gary becomes kill number 3.
Yeah, R.I.P. Gary.
Yeah, R.I.P. Hardly knew you, but what we did know about you, it was creepy.
And you didn't get the girl.
No, we didn't. So there's a big Valentine's Day party happening at Dorothy's estate.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, this giant, beautiful fucking house.
Oh my God, it's great. I would love to have that house.
Yeah.
And so they're getting ready for it. And Campbell, who is now living there, of course, who's just rent-free, has moved into the guest room. He is on the phone trying to get a large sum of money transferred. It doesn't sound legit. This sounds very shady. What he's on the phone with the bank or whatever.
Yeah, call the police. This guy's a criminal.
He really is. And so he's down like in the pool house, and on the intercom, we get a call from the girlfriend from Dorothy saying, hey,
something's up with
the pilot light is off on whatever. Can you go relight it? And he's pissed. He doesn't
How dare you ask me to do something in this house I pay nothing for?
You get the impression in this scene that he's only there for her money. He's only with her for the money because...
Well, they have a scene where they're like supposedly are going to have sex, and then it shows it afterwards, and like he's just like, oh, sorry, I couldn't. Like,
he obviously didn't perform.
Right. He's just not interested at all.
Nope. And so, and then there's another scene where, you know, she's going to take a shower and she wants him to go in with her, and any guy would jump at this, but he's like, no, I think I'm going to go get a workout in before the party. And she's looking at him like, well, what do you think this would be? I mean, come on, right?
You can get your blood pressure, up and elevated.
Yeah, heck yeah. But no, he doesn't. And I'm just like, what an idiot. So he obviously has no interest.
Yeah, no, zero.
It's all about the bank account.
Shit.
No. So anyway, he's down in the, so she gets him on the intercom, and he's just like, just ready to lose it. And you can see it takes a lot of effort to compose himself. And he goes, sure, I'll go down to the basement and take care of that.
Yeah.
And he does. And he goes down there and he finds, what he has to light, and he lights the thing and to get the hot water back.
But he does it in the most clumsy bullshit way. Like he bends down and then reaches while his stupid face is down at the bottom of the water heater at the top to grab the matches. They fall all over the fucking floor. And it's just such a Three Stooges way of doing it.
In the meantime, you see the killer in the distance.
It's a cool shot, honestly. It's like out of focus, but you can see the white cherub face against the black, and it's cool. So
poor Campbell takes an axe to the back. Mm-hmm. He's axed to death for kill number 4. So bye Campbell. Nice knowing you, but you're done now.
And unfortunately, you didn't die with much money to your name.
None,
which is definitely your life goal.
So the party gets going,
and this party's pumping.
There's probably 100 or more people at this party. It's a big deal, and the girls are sitting around, and of course Campbell's not there, and Dorothy just assumes he's left her. Just left her. He's done with her, and now Ruthie, who we met at the art show, randomly shows up, and I don't know what the deal is here, but she shows up.
I think she's just trying to get money back. Like, I think she's trying just to recoup shit because she notices the necklace that was given to Dorothy by Campbell was hers. Yeah. So homie just stole shit from Ruthie and then was like, here's a gift to you. Regifting at its finest.
And she knew that Campbell was living with Dorothy at Dorothy's house.
So I think that's why she was there. Like she didn't realize there was going to be a giant party, but I mean,
surprise.
Yeah.
Here you go.
May as well show up, get some drinks.
Yep. So she doesn't get anything. She is now attacked by the killer.
Well, she's rummaging through
his stuff.
She's in the room and she finds a watch. And
that was the watch. Dorothy had given him a really expensive watch for Valentine's Day. Mm-hmm. And so, Ruthie is rummaging through his stuff, finds the watch, puts it up to her ear to see if it's still ticking, which it is. And then she just puts it on.
Yeah. I mean, she's just there to recoup. Yep. You know what? I'm kind of there. Good for her.
She's wandering around and now we see, this is kind of an interesting scene. We see the killer come through a door in the room that Ruthie is in, dragging poor Millie, the maid, who he has killed. This is kill number 5, and we don't see the kill. It's an off-screen kill. Not sure what happened to her, but she's dead. He's dragging the body in, and at first she doesn't realize that's a dead body, Ruthie.
Probably just thinks it's a drunk person.
Probably. And so then she realizes, oh shit, no. And she tries to get away.
She hits the Cupid guy with a pool cue.
Mhm.
And a little fact, that was supposed to be a pool cue that would break away. It was just a legit one though, and
Ooh.
it gave the stunt performer a concussion.
Oh shit.
Yeah.
Well, that's not going to look good on a resume.
No. Whoever the prop guy was that day got fired.
Yeah, that's not good. Anyway, we are coming up to my favorite kill of the film. And this is Ruthie's death. And it's pretty gnarly. He finally catches her in a bathroom. Now,
Mhm.
this house,
And
this
there is a fun
mansion-
little chase scene with her too.
Sure. I mean, they run around and
Mhm.
they do the chase thing, and like you see in a lot of horror films. The thing is, though, you go into this bathroom. It's not just a bathroom. It's like a huge mansion
It's like a gym bathroom
pretty
almost.
much.
Yeah, with like a sauna and like shit.
Everything is in this. And so he grabs her and he throws her through the shower. It's a glass, has a
Mhm.
glass door. This is thick glass. This is not as, because once she goes in there, it breaks out most of the glass, except at the very bottom of the door, you've got these jagged shards. You look at the shards, they were thick.
Yeah.
This isn't just like thin glass. It's pretty heavy duty glass. So she's not dead yet. So he steps into the shower, picks her up, and impales her throat on one of those jagged.
Just shoves her.
Oof.
Yeah.
And that is kill number 6. Poor Ruthie.
She did not. Yeah. She just wrong place, wrong time.
Definitely.
Yeah.
She actually had also seen Campbell's corpse as well during that chase.
Okay. Yeah,
So
that's right. That's right.
She
So-
stumbled on that body too. I was like, oh crap. All kinds of things going on here at this party.
And speaking of things going on, Paige meets a gentleman at the party who she met. There was like a brief scene in the beginning where they're doing speed dating.
Yes.
And so she met this guy at the speed dating thing, and he shows up and he comes over and he's just like, immediately just, I'm going to take you upstairs.
Yep. Yeah.
Just like, no, like,
And she's like, oh, what's upstairs? And he's like, a surprise.
I have such a good little surprise for you. You're just going to want to see it. So they go upstairs and he
This
just
is so
whips
fun.
his pants down. She's like, oh, you're surprised with that. You wanted to show me your penis. And he, like, homie just like looks through. He's just like, so you're going to wax it or what?
She's like, what? And he's like, yeah, wax it.
Yeah, wax it. Like, I mean, that's what I'm here for.
So she says, all right, take off your shirt. I'm like, okay. All right, take off your pants. Don't forget those, because he's dropped them, but he's not out of them yet.
Right. He just dropped him like he's taking
Yeah.
a piss at a urinal.
So she pushes him back on the bed, ties him up,
Mm-hmm.
and blindfolds him.
Yep.
And then says, do you still want me to wax it?
And conveniently, there's like 10 candles
Oh,
just
yeah.
burning around this bed for some reason.
So as soon as he said that, I knew immediately what
Yep.
was going to happen next.
Yep.
She takes the candle and she starts pouring the wax on his penis.
Oh my!
And he's screaming,
God.
and I'm just like, and she
You
leaves.
don't feel bad for this
No,
fucker
you
though.
don't.
You're like, good.
You
You know
don't.
what? You deserve that.
Yep.
And then she just leaves his ass there.
And then we don't see him again. I don't think. I think that's.
I like to think that he because at some point everybody leaves this party. And I just like to think that he's found maybe like the next day after the police investigation
Mhm.
with just wax all over his shaft.
But you don't. I mean, the thing is, people disappear here, and we never hear of them again.
Right.
And he's one of them. It's like, well, what did happen to him? Now that I think about it, we never did hear, how that ended
we just
for
have
him.
to use our imaginations.
You know who else shows up at the party? Max the artist.
Max does show up.
Max shows up at the party, and he goes up to Kate, and he's trying to really come on to Kate. I mean, he's like, man,
You look good
right
in
at
that
home in that
outfit.
outfit. She's like, what do you want, Max? And then he informs her that Lily never arrived in Los
Right.
Angeles. All right. Lily's the one that got shot with the bow and arrows. She was supposed to go on a trip to Los Angeles, never showed up. He had called the office where she was supposed to be. They said they never heard from her. She never showed up.
Want to know that surprises me about this?
Hmm.
That Max would have checked up on her.
I know, right?
He does not seem the type.
No, he doesn't.
But I guess that's some good boyfriend points.
Yeah, I guess.
Like we gotta give props where props are due.
So now we go back to creepy detective.
I guess we
Man.
never even hit on that scene that he gets all weird with Denise Richards.
Oh, yeah. We should go back and talk about that.
Yeah. So she's there at the sheriff's office kind of answering more questions.
She's there with the other girls. He called them all in there.
Yeah, but then she's the only one, like they all leave and she's the one left behind.
Because he asks her to stay. And he sits there and he says, so what are we going to do about this? And she thinks he's referring to the case.
Right.
And she's like, well, you're the detective. And he leans into her and he goes, no, what are we going to do about this?
This sexual tension. Yeah,
And
you could cut that with a knife.
Yeah. And he's got his hand, we don't see it, but his hand is on her thigh. And she says, take your hand off my thigh. And he's like, well, where would you want me to put it?
Right, yeah. The audacity.
She gets up and leaves. Anyway, that was earlier in the film when he did that. But now he's calling Kate to let her know that they let this guy go that they had arrested. His name was Jason Marquette, J.M.
Because like the girls, there's a scene where they're going down every JM guy they've ever met.
Right.
And this was one that I guess still lived there. And so they were able to like bring him in.
Yep, they did. So they'd arrested him, but they had no evidence, nothing.
Yeah.
So they let him go. So he was calling them to let them know, okay, he's out there. We can't do anything about it.
He tells the girls to not split up, but Denise Richards is off taking a soak in the hot tub because you can't have Denise Richards in a movie without having a bikini shot.
Absolutely.
I mean, this is the early 2000s after all.
And a little bit later, the other girls reference the fact that, she's probably in the hot tub.
Yeah,
so
it's something she does at parties. Yeah. So she finds the hot tub. She's just enjoying herself, decompressing after dumping wax on that guy's penis. And she's soaking when a door shuts abruptly. So she looks towards the door. It's like, is anyone there? And then when she looks back, there's a rose that was not there before. And so she sees that and she kind of is like, hello? And she goes off looking for whatever could have, left the rose. And that's when she is attacked by the Cupid mask killer and thrown into the hot tub. And you get this cool scene where the killer slams the cover on top of it, locks it, and it's this clear cover. And he starts to have a giant drill, and he's just drilling into the top, trying to get her, which he finally does. He clips her shoulder, and then he opens up the hot tub case, throws the electric drill into it, and it electrocutes her.
And it also knocks out power to the mansion.
Yeah.
And guess what? Party's over now.
Party's done. That's when everyone clears out.
Yep, that's pretty much it. They are done.
So Paige is kill number 7, electrocuted in the hot tub.
Now, after the party closes out, the guests are leaving, Dorothy and Kate get into an argument. And this is kind of a cool scene, and there's a lot of baggage that gets aired on the part of Dorothy.
Yeah,
so,
this is a really good character moment.
Yeah, it really is. So Dorothy is accusing Adam, Kate's recovering alcoholic boyfriend,
David Boreanaz,
who, by the way, Kate catches him drinking at this party.
He
and
has
that
a
causes,
little glass of champagne.
Yeah, and he's like downing it. It's just like, oof. So, yeah, so Dorothy and Kate are having this argument. Dorothy accuses Adam of being the killer, being Jeremy, who's had plastic surgery.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. And then Kate accuses Campbell of being the killer because Dorothy doesn't even know Campbell's last name.
Right.
They have not been together that long. I mean, they've been together a month. You would think you would have a last name down, but she doesn't.
You would think.
Yeah. So Dorothy.
But I do love that Dorothy comes back and she's like, no, Campbell's just as good as Adam.
Yeah. How does it feel to have me be, have a boyfriend just like the four of you? So there's a lot of resentment that comes out here. Dorothy thinks that Kate and the other girls are jealous and still look at her as she is the quote unquote fat girl.
Right.
She was in junior high school. And so
it's really, it's sad because you can just see the years and years of unspoken pain that just come out. Yeah.
Yeah. And you didn't realize you thought that all 5 girls were such close friends. And I mean, they were, but apparently Dorothy had all of this resentment that she had held on to, since their days in school together.
Yep.
So it's kind of sad. So they end up splitting up, and Kate actually goes out to call Detective Vaughn, and the phone's ringing. And there's nobody else here now. I mean, pretty much everybody else is gone.
The mansion is cleared out.
Right. So all of a sudden she starts to hear a cell phone ringing in the distance. So she walks toward it. She gets close to this pond and she picks up the phone, and it's Detective Vaughn's phone.
Yeah.
And she looks down into this pond, and Detective Vaughn's head floats up to the surface. So he had been decapitated. It's an off-screen kill.
Yep.
We never saw that. but it is indeed kill number 8 on the opening kill counter. Now the detective is dead, out of the picture.
Kate freaks the fuck out and
yeah.
runs back into the mansion where she stumbles upon Adam in the dark.
Yeah, and she's now convinced that Adam is the killer.
Right.
And so she's trying to, he appears to be drunk, and so she's attempting to figure out how to get away from him and not get him suspicious that she knows. She doesn't want him to know that she knows he's the killer.
She can't really think of anything, so she just kicks him in the balls and decides to run.
Yep, she does. She ends up in Dorothy's father's study, where she finds the gun cabinet. She breaks the glass out, gets a gun, and she goes upstairs, and then the killer, or I guess the person we think is the killer in the Cupid mask, comes falling out towards her. They roll down the staircase, and the killer's not moving.
Yep.
So, and this is kind of a cool scene. The killer finally recovers, comes back to life. Not really, they weren't dead, but they just,
knocked out. Fall.
And she's the killer's going to go after, it looks like it's going to go after, Kate. And then you hear these gunshots, and Adam is there with the gun because Kate has dropped the gun when she rolled down the stairs with the quote unquote killer. So Adam shoots like 6 or 7 times and goes down there, pulls the killer's mask off to reveal that it was Dorothy.
Yeah.
But was it?
Who knows?
Yeah, we do.
We do.
So it wasn't. No, it was not. So Adam and Kate are hugging, and they're Adam has called police, and Kate is just totally bewildered as to why Dorothy would kill all of them.
Yeah.
Even though there was that resentment, that could have been, I guess, it could have been motivation, but I don't think it was a very strong motivation to actually kill them.
But I mean, it was set up pretty nicely by Adam, because his nose starts to bleed as he's holding Kate. And that's when you realize, oh, haha. And he gets away with it.
He does.
Which I kind of like.
So he had actually knocked out Dorothy, put her in the costume, and so she had fallen out in front. I mean, she was unconscious, and he set everything up to ruin Dorothy's reputation.
Just like she ruined his.
Exactly. It's interesting that you're right, that the killer in this actually gets away with it and no one knows anything different.
Yep. I really like that about it.
And the only reason Kate was spared was because she was the only girl who was nice to him at that school dance 13 years prior.
Yep.
And told him that, maybe later, I will dance with you, maybe later. The other girls were very mean to him, and obviously Dorothy set him up.
Yeah.
So, in the opening, he asks all 5 girls to dance, and Shelley's response, "In your dreams, loser." And she was murdered by a throat being slit while lying in a sleeping position in a body bag.
Yeah.
Lily's response, "Ew." And she received a full box of chocolates with wriggling maggots in them.
Yeah, how did they put the maggots in the chocolates?
That's a good question. I don't know, but that was that's when she got her Valentine's Day card. It came with a box of chocolates filled with maggots. It's kind of interesting. Later, she ends up dead in a dumpster, right?
Right.
Paige's response to him asking her to dance when they were in junior high, "I'd rather be boiled alive." Well, that's what happened to her.
Killed
she
in
was
a hot tub.
Electrocuted in that hot tub. Kate's response, "Maybe later, Jeremy," and she survived.
Yeah.
Right. And then Dorothy obviously is the big one.
Ruined her. Yeah. Ruined his life. So
final kill count in this movie was 9, with Dorothy being the last one, shot to death by Adam/Jeremy Melton.
Yeah. Kind of a small kill counter, but they're all really good deaths, honestly.
Yeah. And again, I would say my favorite kill was Ruthie in the shower, and getting thrown through the glass door of the shower and then impaled on the glass. That was pretty interesting.
Yeah, and I think mine is going to be Gary the neighbor, officially. The hot iron to the face and then just pummeled with it.
What do you give it?
It's 5 stars for me. I can't not do it. It's just so up my alley. Everything about it. It's it's made for me. And so, yeah, I'm a 5-star on it.
Give it a B+. I felt that some of the acting was a little flat. Could have been better, I think. The rest of the movie I thought was great. So it's almost an A for me, but some of the performances and some of the dialogue was a little, just didn't really ring true to me.
Yeah, but I mean, for me, I kind of enjoy that
Yeah.
aspect to them. Yeah.
Okay.
So it's adds to the fun. I don't know why. Like, for me, a slasher should be fun. And this one
sure.
definitely is. So
Sure.
it's just my cup of tea personally.
Sure.
These types.
Still a very good movie.
Yeah, and we get a killer that gets away with it.
And because tomorrow is Valentine's Day, you should watch this movie tomorrow.
absolutely,
Yeah.
absolutely, it's a fun one.
Coming up next, we have your scare preview.
Welcome to Jaunty Haunts, the podcast about all things supernatural. After 30 years of keeping a secret, I'm finally ready to share with the world that I see ghosts. This podcast is all about getting spooky and connecting with others who might also sense, see, or feel things beyond the ordinary. Whether you're a skeptic or a believer, let's connect, share, and maybe feel a little less crazy together.
You can listen to and binge Jaunty Haunts right now on Apple, Spotify, or wherever you podcast. Stay spooky, ghoul friends.
It is your scare preview. And there's a movie coming out this October that I'm excited about because I'm a fan of the franchise.
Okay.
It is Hell House LLC Lineage, an upcoming found footage horror film written and directed by Stephen Cognetti. It will be the 5th and final installment in the franchise. They actually started filming last October, and it's slated for release exclusively on the streaming service Shudder
Okay.
in October. So I love the franchise, so I'm excited about that.
Yeah, I've seen the first one, and it's a good found footage movie. Like, I think it's one of the better of the found footage genre.
Right.
Yeah, it's
Right.
a fun one. So I do need to watch the rest of them, but I'm excited to hear that they're doing another one.
Yeah. Yeah.
Mine is a little film coming out called Drop. Now, I saw the trailer for this, and I'm just like, oh shit, yeah. So the premise is Violet, a widowed mother, is on her first date in years. She shows up at an upscale restaurant where she is relieved to see that her date Henry is handsome and charming, and she's having a good time when she receives a drop option, like a drop photo on her iPhone, and it kind of appears that she needs to kill her date, otherwise her kids will die. This is directed by Christopher Landon, who is the director of Happy Death Day. So he's got some good horror under his belt. This one just looks like it's going to be a fun cat and mouse thriller with some cool technology angle to it as well.
It looks pretty scary.
Yeah.
It looks
I mean,
pretty scary.
Definitely. It looks like it's going to be fun. PG-13, so it's not going to be too gory. So it's going to be an accessible one for people who maybe wanting to get into the horror genre.
And it's interesting because just even from the little short trailer, you feel bad for her date.
Dude, yeah.
You know, because he's basically, she can't tell him anything about what's going on.
Yeah, because like the drops keep coming in being like, don't say a fucking word.
Right.
Otherwise, yeah. So, yeah, no, it looks intense. I'm excited about it.
That's going to wrap it up for this episode of Opening Kill. Thank you so much for hanging out with us. As always, want to thank all of our listeners. Please like and subscribe and give us a 5-star review and tell all of your friends about us too.
Yeah, if you have a horror lover in your life, share the pod with them.
And you can also suggest a film through social or our email.
Yeah, if you want to email us a suggestion, it is openingkillpod@gmail.com.
Very interesting film we are going to bring you next week. It is 2023's Cobweb.
I'm really excited for this because I have not seen it yet.
I have not either.
So I'm like, all right, let's just see how it is.
I think it looks really good.
It does look creepy.
Yeah, it does look creepy.
This one is also one that I think my wife might actually watch with me. So,
really?
Yeah. So I might be able to convince her to watch it.
That doesn't happen too often.
Not too often anymore, but
Okay.
I'm excited. And this is probably our first one where we've both not seen it.
Right.
Yeah.
We could be doing Orca the Killer Whale from 1977, but
Oh my God. That movie.
I bring that up only because your wife messaged me the other day and she goes, "You got to do Orca. Michael hates it."
She loves that stupid movie.
I liked it too. I watched it as a kid, so
Maybe we'll do that one for an upcoming season or something.
not.
Or not. We'll see.
All right, next week, though, for sure, 2023's Cobweb. It is Opening Kill. Thank you for listening.
The Opening Kill podcast is hosted by Michael Duren and Brian O'Connor. It's produced by Mystic Cloud Productions. Thanks for listening. And don't forget to subscribe to us on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, or anywhere you listen to your favorite podcasts. Follow us on Facebook and Instagram, too. Join us next Thursday for a brand new episode.